Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, This Green's Life. My name is Sherry. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. Well, it's been a while since you've seen me because I've been doing what I promised that I would do. I do things when I feel like it, and when I don't, I just don't. I do want my channel to grow and I will post things more often, but I don't want to get into the I don't want to romanticize. I notice a lot of people when they relocate to different places, it's all about the scenery and, all the great attractions and things of that nature. And I don't want to be that type of um YouTuber. I don't want to be that type of TikToker, where you're just showing all the great, scenery and the nice locations that people can go to because, all of that is well and good as being a tourist, when you come in. I'm not saying that, when you live somewhere you can enjoy your environment, but what I'm saying is like, you're in the process of living. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to romanticize anything. That's why I try to stay away because I think enough people are doing that. They're showing, all the different places that you could visit, places that you can eat. I when I come on here, I want to talk about real life. I want to talk about real stuff, um life in the sense of everyday grind, and again, for those of you who have not made that leap yet to actually relocate somewhere, I don't want to give you the romanticized version of it. I could easily go somewhere and say, oh hey, look, but a lot of people are doing that. But I'm not saying again that I won't do that, but that's not really, I don't want to be like everybody else. I like to really get to the meat and potatoes of things and really have some serious conversations because, again, I think the romanticized version is what gets a lot of people caught up in, oh, let me try this because I want to go visit this place and, and not understanding that there's a everyday life component. And every person who has relocated will tell you the same thing. When they first got to the place that they relocated to, it was pretty much like, you're feeling like a tourist and you want to go out to eat every day and you want to take part in all the attractions and things of that nature. And then after a while, you have to get to real life. And I will say that I actually live here now, you know what I mean? So I don't mind, like, if somebody comes from out of town and they come to visit me, I'll partake in certain things, but is that my life every day? No, no, because I am not of retirement age yet, so I still work. And I'm going to make a separate video to talk about what I do and how I went about getting, my jobs that I work at, because I do work remotely. But what I really came to talk about today is, me, I always got a question. The question today is, what now? What now? What do you do now? What's going to happen now? We have a new president in the United States, um, and he's been president for 38 days. Is that correct? Well, it's been a few weeks. And so far, it's been quite interesting. I wonder if you guys would, do you agree with me? It's been quite interesting. And I don't even know where to begin. I don't know where to begin. What I will say is that things are tumultuous, to say the least. And what do you do now? Excuse the pregnant pause, but the question is, what do you do now? Because if your entire life has been based upon who's president, who's not president, the economy, inflation, crime, etc. If your life has been based upon all of these things, then you're definitely in the process of having a rude awakening right now. I think for some people, they finally have figured out what's really going on. And when I say what's really going on, I mean in the sense that how you not having control over your life can be affected in a blink of an eye. You not being ready. So you have to get ready now. It's coming to fruition. I think people are really understanding why all of these external variables, if you are attached, if you are reliant, if you are engulfed in the matrix, that's what I'm going to call it, the matrix. The Black Acres of the Gambia call it the illusion. How your world just starts to unravel because these situations really let you know how attached you are to that. And that one link of the chain gets disturbed and how your whole life comes tumbling down. I've been saying this for the longest time. People are too invested in that foolishness. I want to use a different word, but I'm going to say foolishness. You got to think from the time we're children, we've been indoctrinated into this matrix. And nowhere in there are we ever supposed to come out of this winning. Because everything that we have been taught to put value on and value into somehow requires us to work ourselves to death, to make other people rich. We get the scraps and we're thinking somehow that we're living large, like we've made it. And I've said this before. You will never ever live like they do. Never. I don't care how many BMWs you have, Mercedes Benz you have, jewelry you have, fancy handbags, fancy shoes. None of those material things will ever make you rich. That's a fantasy that has been presented to you, to us rather, that we buy into. And we will work ourselves to death. We will rob, steal, and unalive for it. Right? Because some of us are doing that. They're unaliving people. They're selling, you know, illegal substances to obtain these things. I mean, follow me, like follow me along this journey because everything is about all of the material things that you can gain. And you know what's hilarious about it? The more you have, you would think you would feel better, but you don't. You know why? Because at the end of the day, for those of us who have figured it out, the quality of your life, that's where the richness is. The quality of life. Because you wonder how it is that there's some people who have so much less materially and they're living such a beautiful life. A life that when we leave, quote unquote, first world countries and we go visit these other places, we are so in love with the environment, the fresh air, the beaches, like, and a lot of the people who live in some of these places don't have the material wealth that a lot of people have, quote unquote, but they seem happy, they seem satisfied, they seem fulfilled to a certain degree because their lives are the quality of life is different. And what's crazy though is that the people who live in these different places have been fed the fantasy that if they leave where they are and go to these other quote unquote first world countries, that's where, the streets are paved with gold. Because again, that material carrot that's dangled in front of everyone's faces for them to chase, everyone has been bitten by that bug. And now look at what's happening. I just, that's the reason why you haven't heard from me, because I'm just sitting back and I'm observing. Because I'm still not understanding why people are trying so hard to hold on to this foolishness. You got people coming online talking about, I'm 57 and I'm broke. And in my mind, I'm going, you're not broke. You can't afford the lifestyle that you're trying to have. That's what it is. Because if you lived within your means and you made smart choices and smart decisions, you would be just fine. But the question is, what are you trying to chase? What is it that you're trying to do? What kind of lifestyle are you trying to live? That's the question. So as I said, I haven't, been on here because I'm just observing. I'm just sitting back and I'm watching. And I'm just watching everything that myself and all the other people who have made the move like I did, we're just watching. I know I'm watching. I know some people have come on and they've spoken and they said X, Y, and Z, and you know what I mean? It's like my uncle always had this saying, make hay while the sun is shining. And when I was younger, I was like, what does he mean by that? And the older that I got, I understood what he meant by that. What that means is, in my interpretation, is when you're young, that's when you're supposed to put in all your effort while you want to. While not only you want to, but you have the ability to. Where your youth will give you the stamina, the patience, and the resilience to go out there and fight the good fight every day. But while you're out there, here's the part now. Here's the part. While you're out there, You should be laying a foundation. And you can only lay this foundation if you live within your means, if you save, if you decide that you want to buy a piece of property, something to invest into your future, not buy the latest handbag and shoes and be in so much debt that now that you're on the other side of life, you have to get up every day and go somewhere that you don't like just so you could pay these bills. Because I'm telling you, you cannot convince me that the vast majority of the people, and I'm going to talk about America because that's where I'm from, are living in situations that are above their means. You cannot convince me that's not what's going on. You can't convince me. You cannot convince me. Because that's why people are lamenting every day about this and that. They have not put themselves together in a way where their future is even certain, in the sense that they will be able to afford to live off of all of their hard work when they get to a certain age. So that's why you find so many people that when they're in their 60s and 70s and 80s, they're still working because they did not make the moves that they needed to make when they were younger. So a lot of people like myself are coming to you and saying to you, hey, think a little bit differently about what you're doing, because there's going to come a time where you don't want to be bothered. I know I started feeling that in my 40s. I was like, oh no, this is not for me, honey. I was starting to feel it in my 40s. I was like, I don't want to get up and come to work every day. I don't want to do that because I don't like, and I know everybody feels that way. But why did you get up and go to work every day? Let's see. I had bills to pay, a lot of them. I had a mortgage to pay. I had a car note to pay. I had insurance to pay. Right? I'm not talking about food and stuff because that's part of your sustenance. But some of the things that we're paying for, is it even worth it? Like, why do you have that $500,000 house? Why are you driving that $25,000 car? Why do you have to go on 3, 4, and 5 vacations a year? Why? And notice I said vacations, because it's not like you're leaving and you're going to go live in, Thailand for 6 months because you don't have the, you know, you don't have the responsibilities of having to come back after 2 weeks or a week. We really have to rethink, you know, how we're doing this thing. Because to see the way people are crying now, I'm just watching. And again, my question is, what are you holding on to? I have to keep asking that question. I'm going to ask that question over and over. What exactly are you guys holding on to? Moving might not be the answer for everybody, and at least moving out of the country might not be the answer for everybody. But you're going to have to do something different. And you're going to have to make a decision to do something different. The, the decision to do, like, doing something different cannot be just getting up every day and crying. It has to be something different. And I'm praying that everybody gets to a place where they've had enough, because it really doesn't matter who's the president. It really doesn't matter, because people are like, well, this person is the president and I wish that one was. Your life would have still been the same way. You still would have got up every day and crying, because you was crying before he came into power. After he leaves, you're going to be crying again, because that's all people do. They just cry every day, lamenting. And for what? Do you really think that the prices are going to go down? Like, you got to think, like, from the time that you were a child up until this day, have anything have any of the things that you noticed are not the same price that they were when you were younger? Have you noticed that did the prices go back down? So, to the price that it was when you were younger? Prices don't go down. Once you get accustomed to paying a particular price for something, they keep that price right there. And then they'll increase it. And that's all that's happening right now. Everything is going up. It's not going to come back down. So then what are you going to do? How much longer are you going to invest into this foolishness? And like I said, I'm just trying to find a nice word. It's time, people, for you to do something different. The world is a big place. Find your peace in it. Find your relaxation. Hear me. Find where you can go and kick your feet up, because it's not worth it. And if nothing else, guys, this should this should become your realization that it's not worth it at the end of the day, because all you're doing is putting yourself in an early grave, trying to live some life. And the thing is, you get up every day and you don't want to. So why? Why? There are so many programs out there. If you're concerned about school and your children's education, and if you really look into it, you will find something that is cost effective. There's jobs out there that will provide housing for you, accommodations for you and your family. They will provide, flights. They will provide stipends and vouchers and scholarships for your kids to go to school. I mean, if you really thought about it, you could do it. Because I'm tired of hearing people crying every day. I'm tired of it. Because I'm like, what are you crying about? You're in control. And however this thing turns out, you are in control of how it turns out. So let 2025 be the year that you take your power back. You get off of this hamster wheel and you go live. Try that.